Greetings, wonderful people. I am Cynthia Ann Bernadette Goff James, the self-proclaimed Empress of infinite supply and radiant love of the Galactic Council of Women, all genders welcome.
Hi, everybody. My name is Michael John Joseph Goff, aka Miguel Angelo, the LightBringer. I'm also a member of the council that Cindy formed this year. And together we are
the Wonder Irish Twins. We're going to get so much better at that.
That's perfect.
That's perfect. And together, our mission is to yield to something greater within us and around us.
And to bask in the light and joy and relief of surrendering to this greater force around us.
Then to radiate the power of our relationship as siblings, lifelong friends, and servers in love and light.
And we do this in order to help others to tune out the growing noise of opposition, doubt, and shame so that we all can see and hear and live what really matters, what's really important, that whatever it is worth jumping out of bed for in the morning.
And then most importantly, is crazy fun, is crazy enjoyable, that really uplifts ourselves and everyone else. So thank you so much for joining us on our maiden voyage of the Wonder Irish Twins. And we're naming this episode Before the Beginning, because when Mike and I were preparing a few days ago for this series and this session, which has been in the works for many months now, I had a feeling that I'd never had before. And it was the feeling of knowing Mike at a soul level before you and I were together. Like whatever that time was before we became brother and sister, and it's sister first for me, 11 and a half months older than you. And I had a feeling of us just as pure light and power, not personality yet, and that we've come to support each other and the world in a way that really is timeless and meaningful. And it was the most tender, sweet feeling too, Mike, to have remembered you in the power of my vast imagination before you were you and I was me.
Yeah. Well, great. Yeah. Well, you know, I have no memory anyway of the past, so live in the now and forget the past. So I'm glad you have that pre-earthly existence memory, and then to share all your memories as well. There's a Malcolm Gladwell has a podcast series talks about memory. You know, one of the things he talks about is memory. And it's you outsource your memory to some people, and so I'm glad I'm able to outsource my memory to you on some things. We outsourced a lot of my memory to our brother, who we may bring up later on, but you know, you got to make sure you back up that data. So I'm glad you've got it.
Is that revisionist history?
It is revisionist history.
And that episode, Free Brian Williams?
Yeah, yeah, that was funny.
Oh, that is such a great one, people. If you haven't listened to Malcolm Gladwell's Revisionist History and specifically Free Brian Williams, it's genius. It's really genius. And Mike's always said that he has no memories of his childhood, and then he relies on me for that.
I repressed them. I'm kidding. We had a wonderful, normal and abnormal childhood.
But isn't that the definition of family? Like family dysfunction is like the first, whatever that is, that notion of people coming together to try to figure out how to be in relationship. God bless us for the courage to do it at all.
Wow. Well, God bless you, Cindy. You know, I'm only here because my older sister, Cindy, you know, 11 months older, you know, we share the same, we're the same age for what, 15, 16 more days, ish, you know, so no, less than that now, but we have the same age for 16 days, but yeah, like just thank you for all you're doing, the work you're putting out there, and you know, we may chat about it, but all the things you've done, you know, for family and friends, and the heart that you have that you give for everybody. So really, it's really great to be on this, you know, first episode with you, to share whatever we get through today. This, you know, on that mission you talked about, which you say is, you know, and we know is important to get, you know, people to take the time and maybe have the means to be able to, you know, do those things, yield, to bask, and then to radiate in a different way. So Thanks for putting this on.
Oh my gosh, I love you so crazy much, Michael. I mean, oh, the places we will go, brother. And we have gone places in the world for sure. And one of them right now where I'm going to be visiting Christmas Day, Amy, our sister, we're flying to visit you in Puerto Rico where you're living right now. And I was texting Amy with that. I'm like, we are flying to a Caribbean island to visit and be with our brother and sister-in-law for Christmas and New Year's. Like talk about that. That's what happens when we unleash our imagination and we dissolve that shame. Like to even talk about that, I had a memory of us before, like we were us, like that maybe 30 years ago, I would have been like, oh, who is that woman? And now I know that I would so much rather channel my imagination into the current of eternal love, hope, and all the good things for myself and humanity, rather than the imagination that could go so into fear and strife and fighting and mayhem and all of the negative things that really populate what we watch on the media so much. Yeah. So I'm so happy to be with you on the Wonder Irish Twins.
Well, good.
Do you remember? I know you remember that show. Do you want to talk about the show that we're parroting here, a parody of the Wonder Irish Twins?
Well, I mean, we're Irish twins, right? So we're within 12 months. I don't know what the actual legal definition, or there's no legal definition, but the common definition of that is for people. But the Irish twins and the Wonder Twins. I always thought Wonder Twins, cool concept. They would hit their hands together and she would form any type of creature, and then he would form so the brother and sister, and he would form some form of water. So I'd always thought it's so lame. He's water because she'd be form of an eagle. She'd just beautifully goes flying, and he'd be a shape of water, and somehow there'd be a pail, and she'd fly him around by her claws in a pail. I'm like, that's so lame. I didn't want the brother, the male, to be the lame figure. I wanted to, he should have good powers, but he got to be ice too, so we got to do some fun stuff.
And waterfalls and tsunamis and snow and blizzards. And
most of our body composition is water, right? I mean, how important is water to us, right? So yeah.
There's this really beautiful thing, and I'm just going to share this now. Om Jalaye Namaha. Om Jalaye Namaha. Om Jalaye Namaha. And that's a chant using Jala, the Sanskrit term for water, and calling that element into our bodies and into our world in a way that flows and moves. And it's one of the elements. Animal is not one of the major elements: earth, air, fire, water, and ether. So when we were young, so the Justice League was this cartoon we watched on Sunday mornings, and it had did it have Captain Marvel? I don't know who they had on it. Wonder Woman,
Superman, all the different Wonder Woman was on there. Yeah.
So my youngest child, David James, is so into comics and Marvel comics now. It's such a resurgence with young people and old people alike. And it always stuck with me because I think it represents the truth of that we have so much within us and we have superpowers. And when I would watch that, first of all, I used to get mad at you when when you thought the man should have the better powers, meaning from the animal. Yeah. And I was like, I remember thinking still in a male dominated world, although, I mean, one thing about Dad, he said to me unequivocally with the strength of his whole being, father, man, human being, spirit being, Cindy, you can be and do whatever you want. It wasn't like I had to be a secretary or whatever those classic female professions were. And so when you would get a little funky, I'm like, but you get everything. Men get everything. Can't I be a tiger? And so we were working on those issues early on, the masculine feminine dynamic.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, for sure.
So you and I, Irish twins is a term that for the Irish Catholic tended to have a lot of children. I mean, I think that's true with many denominations. And so the term Irish twins would be when a woman would have a baby within 12 months of each other. And in some, I was looking it up, what the definition and history of it was. And it can also be considered to some people a derogatory term. And because of the Irish and having lots of babies and whatever that was, I don't think of it as a derogatory term. And of course, we're Irish and we are like, within a year. I think it's just amazing what mom and dad did. And so many people. And then Stephen was 18 months after you.
Right.
And then Amy was, I think, 4 years after Stephen. So I think it's amazing, that ability. And having had 4 children myself and having 2.5 years in between most of them, I just think, God bless our precious mama who is on the other side splitting around with Stephen. And God bless dad too for what that must have been like, because dad was a hands-on dad.
Yeah.
He wasn't like an absentee dad.
No, he was, it was great. We had a good family. We had a normal, abnormal family, I think. So, as we grew up. So how do we, so on our mission, we're on a mission to help people. So how do we get people, or, actually you're the mission commander, right? You started the Galactic Council. We're having this series of conversations, you and I, to help others. How do we get people to the, to go in, get to where we want to help people yield, or you want to help people yield, or we all know we need to do yielding and basking and rating. How do we, what can we focus on?
First, and I always say this, it is to remember the imagination that you had, Mike, that I had as a very young child. Now, maybe you don't remember it consciously, but maybe you can remember pictures of playing and what it was like to go out with your friends and play in the backyard, or whatever it was. Video games now today is to remember an imagination that wasn't corralled in by thoughts like, oh, act your age, oh, that's silly, do something productive, listen to my imagination now, and to come back to, as adults, that power of our imagination, because I believe to the depth of my being that our capacity to imagine, intend, speak, write, create, act is in full alignment with the same power that made the heavens and the earth. And the notions of artificial pride and shame hold us back, and we allow ourselves to imagine the most nefarious, heinous things. And people do imagine and do the most horrible things to one another. And situations occur on this planet that are so horrible, but yet when someone is imagining something, especially as an adult, that is so full of light and joy, they can be shunned or set aside as silly or stupid, or, oh, not serious. And that's why it is so important to me that the name of the venture that I have come to this planet for, this is the purpose of my dharma, my life's calling, is to form something called so ridiculously imaginative that I would definitely have played as a 5-year-old in the Galactic Council of Women, All Genders Welcome. And the why it is called that is whenever I see anything, and I think any human being that watches anything having to do with the greater cosmos gets a sense immediately of our place. Like that song, I Hope You Dance. I hope you feel small when you stand next to the ocean, and I hope you dance. And that smallness doesn't mean insignificant. It means to me this incredible sense of the amazing universe that I'm part of, that works in timing that my little baby dinosaur brain could never figure out, but I can enjoy and be a part of. And then coming to know what my superpowers are. I mean, I wanted to be Bewitched. I wanted to be Wonder Woman, like with the bracelets. I wanted to be, this is different now. There was a show that there was Shazam and Isis, and they were in person, they weren't cartoons. And she would say, "Oh, mighty Isis." And she was an Egyptian goddess. And that, of course, as things changed in the world, using the term ISIS became more term for an organization that causes, whatever.
Yeah.
So I loved imagining myself as all of those heroes. And it made me knucking futs, as one of my dear friends, Susan, says, that how could I find out how to use those powers? So no matter what I did in life, no matter going to college, being a communications major and, top of the class, we both, Mike, you both and I come with the gift from the creator of super intelligence. It doesn't make us better than anyone else. It's a double-edged sword a whole bunch of times, but we come with that gift. And then going to law school and then becoming a lawyer, I still wanted to know what the superpower was. And for me, as a growing up Catholic and now Catholic means universal. So I'm definitely a universalist now, to be able to find those superpowers within me. And I studied energy healing in earnest. And you were my recipient guinea pig of healing, whatever new healing modality that I was studying over the last few decades. Yep. You're such.
But I needed it. I needed it, right? There was, it's funny. Your superpower is, we've got lots of different powers. If you admire different characters, I didn't like ones that had just one thing, right? One gimmick, right? So you don't have to have just one superpower, right? You can have all kinds of different things, and you do. Obviously, you do. I throughout my years, my journey, I love the flying characters. That's why on the Wonder Twins, she got to fly and he got to be in a water, right? So I went out and a pilot and then started doing flying. But over the years, I needed to yield to get, not, I would say help, all of us go through things in life that are challenging. And so I would tell Cindy, I'd say, hey, I have this going on. She said, well, let's try this. For example, I had our sister, Amy, had cats, and I remember being in her apartment. And I was very allergic to cats, just not deathly allergic, but just literally everything fills up, scratching. And I tell Cindy, and she says, well, there's this stuff I'm doing. And I don't know if that was Reiki or that was part of something else. I don't know what that group was, but it was, you do something like this and this, and you tap here, and you tap here, and you tap here, but whatever, and just sit there and do it and say these things. I'm like, and I'm in the military and I'm flying jet airplanes and I'm like, whatever. But so I did it. Why? Because I believed in my sister, and I'm gonna appease my sister. But I'm just gonna do it. Okay, let me just try this thing. Tap, 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 whatever. Well, all these different taps. Can't remember what the sequence was. The secret code or whatever. And by God, my allergy's gone. It's gone. I'm not allergic to cats. My daughter has a cat. I can sleep in the room with a cat. So, and it's things like that you bring to people that I call they should be big ahas where boom, like saw boom. All right. I got struck by lightning and I'm going to be, convert right away. Those to me, I call the maybe moments. Maybe there's more than, because I went through where I didn't believe in anything. I didn't believe in a higher power. I just believed in a fluke, right, of existence.
Yeah, we were always consciousness was a fluke of existence, as you would tell me.
It's just a fluke, right? So that's what you bring. You bring, the power of the imagination. You're able, you use me as a guinea pig, but I was willing, loving. I was loving, not willing. So I did it because I loved you, not because I was willing to do it. And then it worked, right? So that's one example of, of you on your road, so to helping us.
I think John Mayer should make a new song. He's like, fathers, be good to your daughters. It's like, brothers, be good to your sisters. They'll end up like you do. And there's a couple things that I want to highlight so big about what you just said, Mike, is that, first of all, your daughter, Emily, who's the very first, she within seconds of the birth announcement of the registration, because I sent out a birth announcement joyfully announcing the birth of the Galactic Council of Women, All Genders Welcome, within minutes was the first member. And her self-titled Galactic Council name is the Ever Evolver. And she is a light of the world. Both of your children are. They're just like, I love them, like so crazy great. And she and I are now colleagues in the light. She would say to me now, she's an adult woman. She's a doula. She's a nurse. She's working with women around childbirth and pregnancy and afterwards. She's crazy great. I initiated her into Reiki in your home when you were in Colorado. I'm like, I'm giving you, the initiation. And she would say to me, I want to be the Aunt Cindy of my family. I want to be the one that does all of that. And she is so much more than the Aunt Cindy. She's the Emily, and Emily is
birth. You said give birth. You gave birth to the council. She's a doula. Helping people give birth, and afterwards, in Spanish, you call it dar a luz, to give to the light. Right. That's what you're bringing. Bringing people to the light. So that's a wonderful mission, right? I think that's my name. Of course, I lovingly, not willingly, made up my super character name.
Yes, this is so true.
Cindy hounded me, please come up with your name. Please come up with your name. So I put, the light, Michael and Miguel Angelo, the Michael the Archangel, because Michael, that's what I'm named after, and then the LightBringer, because I always think, that's one of my superpowers, to bring light and energy to people. I think my kryptonite would be sometimes I feel like I don't have it in me, and they all don't have light in me. I'm a conduit maybe, but I don't have it in me, and that's what you've helped me with, and Emily helps me with, and I think what your council is doing, right? Bringing helping people feel and see the light, and for me, what you've helped me do is yield. You used to tell me, you do some blah 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 blah, my belly, and say, you need to get in touch with the feminine and do some more yielding, Michael. And I say, oh, okay, but now I have done that seriously in my last few years, where I've yielded more and yield and let go. It doesn't mean lose, doesn't mean roll over, it doesn't mean bow down and suffer. To me, yielding means to open up, relax, let go, so that you can be plugged, so you can, it's there, there's in certain traditions says, knock and it'll be answered. It just, I think it's the other way. I think you're getting the knocks all the time. You answer the door, right? Don't knock to the Lord and answer. It's just, you need to, okay, stop, open the door, because it's knocking. It's there all the time. That it's there radiating to us so that we can yield and then start, basking and then sucking it in and enjoying it.
That's what it is. The yielding is the merging with the power. And power comes from Latin, which means to be able. So it's merging with the ability to consciously create, not just be like seeming, boats floating aimlessly in the water, but to be able to be the captain or co-captain or pilot of our ship or our plane. And I want two things, first about planes and second about the cat and all of that. That was when I was really studying energy healing in earnest, because I was told when I was pregnant with my fourth that child would die in utero, that would be prudent for me to terminate the pregnancy at 22 weeks. And that even if that child was born, would need massive, if survived birth, would need massive surgery. And that's when I dove into everything, whatever might save my child. I always knew something was possible. I believe that pregnancy was the result of, I know that pregnancy was the result of my first ever receiving a formal energy healing, a Reiki healing, which is one of the many modalities I have now studied and become, that quote, jack of all trades, master of none. I think you and I are like, fortunately or unfortunately, jack of all trades, master of most. Mm-hmm. Once again, all that does is make the ego make us suffer. It's like, look at what we were given by the creator to use. Yeah. And so that there's a method of tapping, and that's really big today. Like Tony Robbins people use it all the time.
Tapping right now too.
tapping. And there's I don't remember this, what we were taught, but I remember that and I wrote it down. I've never been able to find it, but this is just like saying, I completely love and fully accept myself, even though, and for me, whether it was pregnancy-induced nausea at the time or fear around my child's safety, I would do that. And everyone can do this right now too. I'm going to give you like the 2-minute tutorial on realigning your body system, your energy system, your meridians, which are scientifically this is not just spirituality that hasn't been documented. This is now energy medicine. It's the new frontier, like anything, like Galileo with us, the astronomy, or finding out that the bark of a tree has an ability to take away inflammation. This is energy medicine, but I completely love and fully accept myself, even though I'm afraid for my children, safety. Or it's even though I have such pain in my lower back, I completely love and fully accept myself. Those statements, this is kind of like the acupressure chop. It's doing something here with the back. And other people do it different ways. They like tap this way. This is the way I learned. And then you go to different places. I use my middle fingers because I know that your thumb and middle finger, as well as your palm, have like the maximum energy come out. I think that's why people use this when they're saying, screw you, because it's like, let me use that maximum power. And so I want to use that for good. And then you just tap in the inside of your eyebrows while remembering the fear or the pain, because you're actually telling your body system what it needs to address, what you are directing it to rewire and recalibrate. You tap right in the middle of the eyebrows, the top of the eyebrows, the corner of the eyebrows, underneath. You can do it longer than I'm doing, using your dominant hand here, here, collarbone, lymphatic points, under the rib cage, and then top of the crown. And then take some deep breaths and then assess how you feel. And you can do that as many times as you want. And it doesn't have to be hard. When I first started doing that, I was using my, gusto trial lawyer, force, and I got bruised. No, it's just a light tapping. And it usually takes about 3 times for my body to recalibrate, to listen. And what I told you about the cat thing, is that one of the theories about allergies like that, because cat dander is not a toxin. I mean, it might be annoying, but it's not a toxin that your body needs to defend, is that our immune system makes a mistake when if we are in some sort of emotional kind of distress or physical distress, and the immune system gets activated, whatever might be around at the time will get lumped into something it needs to defend against. And I remember my oldest child, my daughter, our parents had recently divorced, and we're living in like the same town, and it was Christmas, and I had come, my ex-husband hadn't come at the time, with my daughter and my almost 11-month-old son. And we had to go back and forth between houses. It was stressful. And I was stressed out. I mean, I think everyone was stressed out, like the newness of that. Maybe, but my children are going through something similar right now in the wake of a divorce and separation in the last few years. And I have such compassion for it. And I'm so happy for whatever time they spend with whomever they want to spend with. That is wonderful.
You were lucky. Sorry, I think you were lucky. I had parents in the same neighborhood and my in-laws in the same neighborhood. So I had to do 3 houses. I did do 3 houses, right? So dinner, right? How come you had dinner with that person, not with us? So anyway, so I'm sorry. You
had like the stressful trinity in that. That's right, Mike. I forgot.
Sorry.
And your in-laws are spectacular people. I love them. I mean, your mother-in-law, especially since mom skedaddled to the other side, anytime, I'm such a full feeler. Anytime I think of her or talk to her, I feel such unconditional love radiating to me. And that's a gift. I do remember one Christmas staying at there. Oh, that was the same Christmas. So we then went to stay with your in-laws, and God bless them. The only thing I don't appreciate about them is the level of temperature in their house, because it was Texas. And I mean, what they called heat was like, oh my God, I slept in your beautiful wife Tanya's old bedroom in the window seat with my face pressed up against the cold window trying to get cool. But yet I digress. But about the immune system, my daughter then became highly allergic to mom's cat. And that's why we couldn't stay there. And I think that, and now, by the way, my daughter, who is a profound healer and light worker in the world, has a cat and has no allergies anymore either. She had horrible allergies, like hives all over. And I said, it's your immune system. And it was also loving me and being willing, but you also have an authority, like with your body. It's like, oh, I'm just going to tell my body, I'm no longer allergic. And you've done a lot of things that way, Mike. You have a command of creation in your life, in your world, that you have been, and I think this comes from knowing our souls for so long. I have learned to surrender now, but for most of my life, you are the only driver that I would allow myself to fall asleep with, because my control issues would be like, I have to like co-drive, like the only one I trusted to drive. And
nobody else. I don't trust anybody else to drive. And late at night, nope, that's it. Tanya, my wife, would kill me, but I tried to have her do it one night. She says it wasn't true, but I woke up as we were hitting the rumble strips going off the side of the road. And, okay, I'll drive. So I was awake now. So yeah, I'm a control freak, but
I'm a recovering control freak. And I remember when I was visiting you in Colorado, when you were in Colorado a few years ago, and we had gone up into the Rocky Mountains, and we'd gone to see, I think, the place where The Shining was filmed. Mm-hmm. And it was a full day. And I think Emily was with us too. Was Emily with us? And Amy?
On that trip, yeah.
Emily and Amy, it was the 4 of us. And we were driving back. Because you're always the driver. And you started to get tired. And I I didn't want to drive, but I thought to myself, I would offer it. I know there would no way you do it. And I said, do you, I don't know if you remember this. I said, want me to help you wake up in one sentence? And you said, sure. I'm like, how about I drive?
Oh, okay, I'm alert. That's caffeine for my system. Perfect.
It was instant. Like the thought of me driving crossed, I think, such an adrenaline rush.
How about you fly the plane instead? So there you go.
Oh my God. So Mike owned a plane for a while. So do you want to tell the story of your plane?
Yeah. Well, anyway, as part of the driver Empress, we're going to keep us on time. We're getting close to our,
we are getting close to our thing.
But next sometime we'll talk about taking you flying and the crazy story there, and control and yielding. You had to yield. And
I had to yield. And it was not like It's a Mad World with Buddy Hackett and Mickey Rourke.
We talked about yield. We didn't really get into Basque that much, and didn't talk much about radiating. I'm sure we'll have a chance some other time, but what else?
Well, what I want to say, just to bring this before we bring it to full completion for this episode 1 before the beginning, when the souls, remembered that they were coming for a purpose. And I believe every soul's purpose is to remember that we're eternal. And
I also think before the beginning, I said, this is where the Galactic Council is now, right? And so, and I imagine later on, years from now, where your imagination, the imagination of that you're bringing together, are going to make this very successful for people, where people will be happier and healthier because of what you're doing and you and the energy you're putting into it. Sorry. Okay. Back to you.
Oh, no sorrow. That's so wonderful. Thank you. I am the reason why I call myself the Empress of infinite supply and radiant love. Like that's my Galactic Council, is because as a kid, I would have been one of these other names, but I checked in. Like when I yielded to that greater power within me and around me, I knew that I've come with some pre-baked knowing about life. I've come with an ability to know that money or whatever abundance is or finances, it's not a limited thing. Like we just agree that there's a limited pie of money and then we compete over it. I know that there's infinite supply. I want to radiate that too. And so the Empress, meaning that I'm going to take my post as someone who has been gifted with the ability to know the value that we all have, and then share that. I've received an activation. Many people might know of like the Hindu goddess energy of Lakshmi, or whatever you might know as the energy of divine abundance. This is the stuff that might seem woo-woo crazy, but it's crazy great. I've had an personal activation experience with the energy of feminine prosperity and abundance coming into me to bring the golden light of pure love to myself, to drop golden coins around my feet and everyone's feet and radiate pure love and the ability to create, so that no child needs to starve, that no one needs to not have a home. Like there is no reason why I've said this since I was young. I do not discriminate against the rampantly wealthy. I intend to be one of them one day, and I would be considered by many circles now rampantly wealthy. It's just whether that we have that wealth from the accumulating from a limited pie, and then I'm just kind of fortifying my defenses to be safe from more of an animalistic territorial place, or I'm having that supply to radiate the truth that we have this within our power and you can have it too. And I always say to people, especially people when people join the Galactic Council, and the pillars of deeply caring people and light, like you, Mike, that many people have come in the beginning to the Galactic Council because they know and love me and believe in me, even though they don't understand what I'm saying. And they come that way too. The people that are coming, I see what's happening as we're linking up this matrix of deeply caring people that are going to rise into the feminine power of the nurturing energy combined with mother bear, not on my watch force, which father bears have too, and general nutri bears have, and all of the new gender expressions, and to make a stand on the truth within. And I'm watching people's lives transform. I'm watching people grow in ways just by being part of the Galactic Council. It's not a thing where we like sit around and do stuff, which we do. We're having an intergalactic bar gathering virtually. I'm sending out an email today to the Galactic Council with a picture from the Star Wars bar to have a gathering of the Galactic Council members to like eyeball each other, and everyone's going to get a really cool, I believe, a wonderful like parting gift or party favor for coming. So, and the radiant love. I believe that like is not love, that love is the own point, is the origination power of the universe. And I have so wanted to know love, so much so that I got myself embroiled in codependency, which is more attachment than free-flowing love. And I'm a recovering codependent. I say I'm recovering angeraholic, where my passion became into like the rage against what's wrong. And now this passion to use everything that flows through me to highlight everyone else. Like my cup so overfloweth that Cindy Lou will explode if I don't share with everyone and everything. And this is a global network. We have members from all over the world, from Asia, from Africa, from America. I know there's coming from South America and Europe right now too. And I envision bringing to reality all over the world the simplest, most easy forum to remember to receive that we can be anything we want. And so let's be lovers. Let's be not likers so much, but appreciators. And what you and I coming together, that radiating, like your willingness to sit present right now, Michael, while I do what it is that I do.
I'm not even here. I'm kidding, joking.
Exactly. You could be. I mean, you could be, whatever it is you're doing. Your in-laws are coming to visit. Like you could be planning dinner. But your ability to sit present with me, not just as your sister, which I think is profound, and not just as someone who has a mission on this planet, but also representing the embodied whole male, respecting, revering, honoring, and delighting in the feminine. Those energies coming together in the creative process for a new world and a new humanity, you exemplify.
That's definitely superpower worthy, right? So yeah,
it is superpower worthy because not many men could do that. Well, maybe I won't say that, but yeah. So speaking of, I'm going to. This is what I think. I didn't tell you this beforehand, but I think it'd be really cool to end with pulling a picture and showing it and having our first impressions about what comes up with that and how it relates to our life today.
Are we going to have our first on-air fight?
Yes.
Okay, great.
You don't have to do anything. I'll do it then. So
no, I'm kidding. Is it going to be me with a perm, or is it going to be?
No. These are all pre-approved picture from the montage.
Right. Okay, just checking.
So you get to choose, Mike. I have 3 pictures here. Pick 1, 2, or 3.
2.
All right. So this is the picture.
Santa and Christmas. Yeah, they're sitting on a lap. That's great. What comes to my mind there is that's everything that you're doing and everything that we're talking about today is represented in that photo. It's 2 children who are open to yielding and open to the concept of magic, open to the concept of a energy being that delivers dreams. So I think that and also there is and then if you're open to it, it happens, and it did happen for us, right, for that Christmas. But also on that lap, I see a brother and a sister who are very close, who over the years fought but loved tremendously, and grew up to be the Wonder Irish Twins. That will spend time working together, calling each other, talking about this concept or this new supplement. So that's what I see. I see hope. I see joy, and I see the innocence of imagination that can get stifled on our journeys, but you've been able to reignite, and you call things ignitions in your Galactic Council. So anyway, that's what I see when I see that photo.
There are no more words for that other than ditto, Mike. Thank you for that. We're going to complete with gratitude, because the energy of gratitude dissolves the limitations of the mind. It opens up the physical body in ways where stress hormones relax and endorphins kick up and heart rate variability becomes balanced, and it connects us with one another. And so I am grateful for how the infinite love of what's within us and around us channels through you. You have always been a source of unconditional love, strength, power, and not just for me. I mean, anyone watching this knows. I mean, look at this man. Do you know how many times I've been told your brother is so incredible? Your brother is the most amazing, greatest thing. Oh my God, he's your brother. Oh, your brother, Michael, your brother, Michael. And I just have to say, yes. I don't get tired of saying he's amazing. I mean, maybe in the younger days, it's like, what am I, chopped liver? When it was more ego-based, when we might compete a little more. But I will say, mi hermano spectacular, Miguel. Thank you. And thank you, everyone that has joined with us today. And I hope you enjoyed this and are taking something or some things with it, especially the ability to share these conversations with people close to you. Let your conversations with your siblings, your parents, your coworkers, your friends, your children, whomever, raise the bar a little, and rather just belonging from complaining about what's wrong and getting kind of a rush from diagnosing the problem. Start to live the solution. Start to be the change you wish to see in the world, and do what Mike and I have been able to do and have forged a path like many other siblings have, I'm sure, is to be able to see each other in wholeness, call each other on our ego and our limitations. My brother can give me spiritual, I don't know if we're allowed to say bitch slap, dog slaps, like just by saying things like you, like whom, and it just cuts through. And vice versa. I've done the same to him, in love and power, and then enjoy this business of living together, really enjoy sharing and creating. So that's my gratitude that I want to say for myself and for everyone, and my wish.
Yeah, and I'm grateful for anyone who's watching this just to take the time to look through it, but certainly grateful for you, Cindy, and all that we have. And I'm grateful that we're going to hit our time limit as well, since I'm a timekeeper, a container holder. So
thank you very much. That is the job of the traditional masculine energy, to hold the containers. So stay tuned, wonderful people, for our next episode, which we will be filming sometime in the next 30 days. And where we share our stories, our hearts, our mission, and connect with you and radiate to you just what you need. So until then, I'm Cindy James.
I'm Michael Goff.
And together we are
the Wonder Irish Twins. Boom. Great. Thanks, Cindy. We'll see you later.
Bye, sweetie pie. I love you. Cynthia Ann Bernadette Goff James, the self-titled Empress of Infinite Love. And no, that's not right. Oh my God.
Hi, everybody. My name is Michael John Joseph Goff. I'm a council member as well, the Galactic Council that Cindy started and founded this year. I am self-titled Miguel Angelo, the LightBringer. And
together we are
the Wonder
Irish Twins.
We're gonna have to redo that one. I'm not pausing.
We're still working on our mojo, people. It's going to get better. This is not a performance, and it's an experience.
Yeah, perfect.
Let's try it again, Mike.
Okay.
All right. 1, 2, 3. And we are the Wonder Irish Twins.
Let's go from the top. Yeah, I think we could use it. I could use a reset. Yeah.
I mean, I want to tell you that this is all rich. I think this is Wonder Irish Twins material, by the way. So I think this might be going recording, but we'll start again.